Joining us right now on the phone. You might, of course, recognize this voice.
Well, you could have said just friend. You didn't have to call me old, but I'll take it. Anything, whatever comes in positive, I'm good with that. Just talk
An
a little, a little louder.
Old friend.
Louder. I
Way
can't.
back in the day. Steve, Bujold. Steve, how you doing, sir?
I am good, Gino. It's so cool to be back on CHRQ. I love it.
You can stop calling me Gino because it's Justin here on the queue with you, but that's cool. I've been called worse.
Oh, see, I'm old, it's Gino, there's Rick, there's Justin, I'm sorry, Justin, I didn't even realize that. I'm only into my second coffee, so I'm still, without my ID, I'm having trouble getting my name right this morning at this point, so.
Honestly, Gino is like the least offensive thing I've been called just today, so I'm going with it. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're with Steve. Steve, you, of course, have got a big project that you're doing right now online. Can you tell us a little bit about Downhome Corner, please?
Well, I've been working on this for a little bit now. I kind of launched the podcast back in 2015, and then there was a couple of roadblocks. I couldn't seem to get a good thing going. I was kind of having some health problems, and I wasn't as motivated as I could be. And then finally, about 7 months ago, I said, look, okay, let's go at this. Let's go all in, and let's, really, really make an effort to make this thing grow. So we put together a website. I got a really, really talented webmaster named Michael Similian with Paradigm. And he helped me to redesign this thing, and now we've got this thing going. So we've been just going after different interviews and different people that we thought could be, representative of the down home feel and the down home corner feeling, and it's just about reaching out. Like the concept is everybody has a story and we are all connected. So, that's we're just connecting with as many down homers and around the world as possible. And I'm just blown away by where the show is going at times, so it's really nice.
You've had some local celebrities, like Rick Reese. We just played a tune from him, and Gino Clement. Brenda Best, of course, doing her thing in Nashville. Peter Marr, of course, with the Calgary Flames. And you've also had, of course, some guests that are more well-known throughout the country, like David Milgaard and, of course, John Dunsworth, famously Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah. John was a really super individual, and the nice thing about John is he was the real deal. John Dunsworth, most people know him as Mr. Leahy, and the biggest question, or the first question everybody would ask me when they knew that I knew John was, does he really drink a lot? And the answer was no, he hardly ever drank. And I remember talking with his daughter, Sarah, about it, and she said, I bet you he's been drunk 3 times in his life, So he was just a good actor, But after he passed away, I found that a lot of attention didn't come his way because of the timing. He died the day before Gord Downie died. And then, that kind of like a lot of the attention was drawn towards Gord Downie, rightfully so. Gord was a great Canadian and did a lot for Canada, and his music touched a lot of people around the world. So I always felt that John got a little bit lost in that shuffle. And I thought there must be something I can do to kind of pay tribute to him, because he was a friend as well as, I was a fan of his as well, too, as being a friend of his down the road. But I think I had 6 or 7 different interviews I had done with John over the years, and I took different pieces and put them together and kind of tried to get a little theme going, and was able to show a lot of different sides of John, the humorous side, the philosophical side, the thinking man side. He was a pretty complex guy, but a beautiful individual. And I've heard nothing but great stories about him in other people when they would come to me and tell me stories about John. So that's a podcast I'm really happy with. That's on the website. And the David Milgaard interview, you don't get interviews with David Milgaard. He just doesn't do them, and that was because of Byron Christopher. They're personal friends. And he just basically called up David and said, okay, you should do an interview with this guy, Steve Bujold. And David said, okay. And it was as simple as that. But I got to talk about the song Wheat Kings, which is one of my favorite Tragically Hip songs. And, to get that perspective and then to be able to go back and listen to the song, I just cried like a baby. I could feel the pain for the first time in that song. So, we've got a chance to interview some pretty cool people. And what's nice is it doesn't matter what level. the latest one, with Bobby is proof that it could be somebody that you might not know outside of your hometown, but has a very compelling story, or it could be somebody you've seen on TV. And their story is compelling as well. We're all from a small community, no matter where we are, whether it's, New York City or Toronto. You could be from, say Yorkdale in Toronto, or you could be from, say, Harlem or the Bronx if you're in New York. You're all from a small area, and we all connect that way.
Absolutely. Now, people can find those past podcasts. Are those all available on downhomecorner.com?
Yes, they're all up there. And as soon as we release a new one, it goes up and it goes into the run, and they're up there for, till the cows come home, as they say.
And you can follow Stephen Bujold. Don't forget, it's Stephen with a PH. Bujold is Bujold, just like it's pronounced.
Absolutely. Just Smith, different pronunciation.
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Follow him on Facebook. So we've got the Bobby Steves interview coming up for a moment, but always looking towards the future. Some very exciting possibilities coming up. Hopefully getting an interview with one Mr. Jeff Barnaby.
Oh yeah, we're right now. I've been communicating with Kate Parks with publicity at Elevation Pictures, and we're trying to nail down a time and a date that we can get an interview with Jeff. Apparently, they all seem to be on board with it. So. And they're very happy that CHRQ is on board with it. The last question they asked me in our communication was, let us know if CHRQ is going to take the interview. And I went, wow, so I contacted you, Justin, and you were slightly interested. And I just can't repeat what you said. But yeah, and for me personally, that feels so good because now we're all involved. This is one big circle now, and we'll see if we can get some people who were maybe involved in the filming of Blood Quantum, when they closed down the bridge and did all these things. I remember watching on Facebook and thinking, oh man, I wish I was home right now, because I know what the feeling is like being in a movie with, even if you're an extra and you're just in the background, like there's a buzz to that, there's a feeling to that, and you feel like you're in a world completely separate from anywhere else, and I see pylons on the road to this day. I go by, I see pylons, and I don't think construction. I think, okay, where are they filming? There's a set here somewhere,
Absolutely, and don't forget, the North Shore Cinema is going to have Blood Quantum. They have it on their schedule right now for Friday, March the 20th, so we're all looking forward to that.
Excellent. So our timing is good. So hopefully we'll get that interview with Jeff nailed down, and we'll get that up and posted, and we'll give CHRQ first listen. What I'd like to do is to be able to get, say if we're going to release it, say at on that day or the day before at noon. Well, you guys play it at noon live, and then I won't post it till say 1 o'clock or something. So you guys get a kind of a little. Exclusive rights to it, at least. It's not much, but it's
something.
We'll
be waiting for it with blood-bated breath. Blood-bated breath. That'd be good.
The full quantum represented.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about the interview we're going to be playing today that you did with one Mr. Bobby Steves. How did this come about? Well,
it came about kind of by, I think it was Michael Charlong online on Downhomers Are Us. I had posted the previous interview with Scott Brown, and somebody and Michael said, you should get Bobby Steves on the show. And then when he said that, a few other people responded and said, yeah, you should do that. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, let me contact Byron and see what he thinks about it, because Byron Christopher is the guy that broke the story to begin with back in 2016 when he put it on his blog, and the story is called The Knockout Punch, and you can find it there on byronchristopher.org. It's a beautiful, warm story, and a bit of redemption, and not redemption for Bobby, but I think the town folk and people and how he was treated over the years. But what's nice is it's a story that's come full round. It's I described in the intro that it's like a movie. And his life is very much a movie script in that way, with a happy ending. And I talked to Byron. I said, "What do you think?" I said, "Do you think I should get Bobby on the show?" And I said, because really, out of respect for him, it was his story that he broke, and I thought, well, I wouldn't do this with anybody else, but, you know, you're a friend and I respect your work and everything else, you know. And Byron's such a great ambassador for the area. And so I contacted, and he said, yeah, that's a great idea. So he was all on board, and he even helped me to contact Bobby. And so the more I thought about it, I thought, this is a great idea. And I just thought, okay, let's see if we can get this over a couple of phone calls. And I think it might have been 3 or 4 phone calls. There wasn't as much editing as I thought would come out of it. And really, it ended up turning into a kind of a labor of love, you know. And the more I thought about this guy, I thought, gee, you know, Bobby is really a hero, back home, because, I mean, how many could take what he went through and still keep your innocence and still be a nice person and still be happy and want to, you know, move forward, you know. And there's a bit of Rocky. I know you're going to laugh here, but there's a bit of Rocky in him, you know, where Rocky says it's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can be hit and keep moving forward, you know. And to me, that's what Bobby's all about, you know. Like, he took the hits all of his life, and he kept moving forward, you know. And I think he's a great role model because of that, you know. And he's a lovable character. I mean, he's part of the fabric of our home area, you know. And everybody knows Bobby, so, you know, I just thought, yeah. And when we got it going, he was all on board. He was happy to. I don't think he quite understood what I was doing in the beginning, but he remembered me from being on the radio, and he remembered, you know, that I was nice to him over the years, at least, or, you know, not mean at least. And you know, and so we were able to connect. And then I talked about my dad with him, and that connected to his brother. And the best part of it for me was when I talked about my pet rabbit and said, you know, you're a little bit like a rabbit too, because you don't harm anybody, you know. And then he got talking about his mother, and like, that was, to me, the best part of it, because hardly anybody of us know about this story, you know. So very, very, it's probably one of my all-time favorite interviews I've ever done, you know, because of the warmthness and the realness. He's not out to show anything to anybody. He's just talking, you know, and how real can you be, you know?
All right, well, with all that said, let's get to the interview.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you very much, Steve Bujold. Again, you can go to downhomecorner.com to find all the episodes of the podcast. Stephen Bujold on Facebook. You can add him as a friend. I'm sure he'll love to have you as a friend, and you get updates on everything that Steve is up to. And, of course, keep your ears and your eyes peeled for that Jeff Barnaby interview. Steve, thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Justin. Hope to hear from you soon.
From me, Gino, and everyone at CHRQ, thanks a lot for calling in.
Thanks, Gino, and say hi to Justin for me, will you?
I don't talk to that guy. Yourself a good one, sir.
You too.